So the kind of work I do is I'm trying to understand how emulsions get broken up by membranes in a process called membrane emulsification, which I and others hope could potentially change the way that we make emulsions for products like foods, cosmetics, or pharmaceuticals. So there are things that we want in our food that give it flavor, or in our medicines that make us healthy, that are very sensitive and that easily break because they're really small molecules, and the arrangement of those molecules is very delicate. And when we eat them, they need to be made available to our stomachs. And when they're not soluble in water, like sugar, for example, is, these chemicals just pass right through, and then you don't get well or you don't taste it in any way. So we put those into small oil droplets, which kind of act as packages that deliver those chemicals to your taste buds or to your heart or liver, whatever you need to fix. And to make these tiny droplets, we can use membranes, kind of like filters, that break these droplets off into smaller pieces. You can also just be very violent and tear them apart by force, but that's probably going to break a lot of these molecules, and doing it with a membrane is just a more elegant way of doing it. So what I personally find very exciting is that these membrane systems involve a lot of different physical processes that go on at the same time. So it's not a static system where it's somewhat straightforward to describe the interfacial tensions that are involved, so the forces that tear those droplets apart. But all of it is happening in a flowing medium, so it's essentially trying to simulate flow in the ocean of like small droplets, now in a tiny channel with the membrane in the middle. I have to pay attention to pressure differences that are induced by fluid flow. At the same time, have to monitor the curvatures of interfaces that are trying to adapt to the changing pressures in the fluid. So it's a very dynamic and active system, and the videos that I take are just very pretty. So that is what excites me probably most, the pretty videos. I would really like to have a big impact in terms of environmental causes. A lot of this work touches on environmental aspects as well, like energy conservation is one of it, but if you flip the process around and it becomes something called membrane de-emulsification, where you separate oil and water, it becomes environmentally very meaningful. And I'd like to do more of that.